We have some news for you, and I'm sorry to say that we're beginning with some very sad news, and that is the death of Harry Belafonte. 96 years old.
Yeah.
He died at his home on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And yeah, you look back at his legacy both as an entertainer and as a civil rights activist. And I would say that the latter is even more significant than his cultural profile. You know, he brought us a great deal of joy and entertainment for many, many years. But as time went on, it was much more important to him to use his voice and to use his platform to advocate for civil rights. And so we have a couple of documentaries that we have reviewed here on the show, which we'll have links to at the end. One is called The Sit-In. It's about the week that he sat in for Johnny Carlson as host of The Tonight Show and really like catered that show, which was so safe and which people would fall asleep to, you know, middle America. And he would find ways to get his message in and find entertainers that perhaps you wouldn't see on that kind of show ordinarily. So that's one.
He got MLK to sit down, right? Wasn't he one of the guests that week?
They were, they were really very deep friends, and Belafonte was a big supporter of his in terms of his time and his activism and financially contributed to his cause. And then also a movie called Nation Time, which we reviewed here as well. So we'll have links to those.
Yeah, he was extraordinary. And I think it's important to point out that he was very vocal as an activist at the height of his popularity. It wasn't like a thing that he sort of settled into later when, you know, like other opportunities were drying up. He risked, you know, everything that he had going on because all of these issues were so important to him. And he, you know, like you said, he was very close to the King family and, you know, very much out on the front lines as a handful of like black megastars of the mid-century. Like he and Sidney Poitier and a couple of other people had managed to sort of break through in film and in recording. But, you know, it was a hard spotlight to be in, and he handled it with aplomb.
And turned down film roles.
Yeah.
Because of the way that they depicted Black characters, right?
Yeah.
And you instead said, like, I don't want to make these kind of movies. Movies are empty. Hollywood is empty. I'd rather use my time for more substantial matters. And he definitely did that. So
absolutely. I wish he could have gotten to make the Amos and Andy movie with Robert Altman that he wanted to do, which I think would have been really fascinating. But unfortunately, Altman passed away before they could get to it.
Right. He was in
Kansas City.
Oh, right. Kansas City. Right. Yes. And his last role was in Black Klansman. I forgot that he was in Black Klansman.
Yeah.
So that is very sad. Rest in peace, of course. Tucker Carlson's out at Fox News Channel. That's not sad news.
Can't say that it is, no.
Yesterday was a crazy day.
Yeah, there was like this, there was a media bloodbath. It was, nobody saw it coming. Certainly the people involved didn't see it coming. Both Tucker Carlson at Fox and Don Lemon at CNN, these were not like snuck into Friday news dumps. These were Monday morning, like, brr, you know, and people have been showing the end of Tucker's Friday show where he's like, I'll be back on Monday. It's like, well, no, you will not. So clearly that was a rug that was yanked from under him.
Right.
And
those of you who don't know, Tucker Carlson is like the most popular Fox News personality, drew millions of viewers every night, which is hard to do when viewership is so splintered as it is now, and was like spewing all kinds of racist shit and conspiracy theories and like
vile white supremacist,
increasingly unhinged, fringy, like right-wing stuff, and was one of the big perpetrators of the big lie, the election lie. Yes. So he is out. Don Lemon is out at CNN. He was the morning anchor. He did not get along well with many of his female coworkers.
Apparently so. That's what we're hearing.
So there's that. And then also Jeff Shell, who was the CEO of NBCUniversal, announced that he was going to be out over the weekend. And that's because of a long-time affair with apparently a reporter, a subordinate at...
Yeah, I saw one headline about the three firings. It was like, have men learned nothing?
Men have learned nothing.
Clearly, like, yeah, like it is really taking a while for men in power to get the lesson of the last few years because they keep missing it, apparently.
Lots of celebrities do not want the blue check mark that Elon Musk is trying to give them at Twitter. He just has mishandled this. Speaking of men handling things horribly, like he has mishandled Twitter every step of the way since he has acquired it, like to such an extent that it almost seems like that was his purpose, like that was his point, to come in and like mess it up. Yeah, the most generous read is you just wanted to break it, you know, because otherwise, like, and if that was the strategy, then, you know, bravo, you've succeeded. But other than that, it's been just like bananas. It all seems like just pure impulse. Anyway, so now he took away everyone's blue checks on 420. Alonso, you and I are no longer part
Yep.
of the cultural elite. We are regular people among the
That's
hoi
right.
polloi of Twitter now.
We're the masses.
Yes, but then he tried to give them back to several celebrities, which when you click on that blue check, it says this is a verified account because this person has paid for Twitter Blue, and a lot of people are like, I don't want this blue check. I didn't pay for this. I don't want you to think I did, including like Brie Larson, Lil Nas X, Stephen King, Trixie Mattel.
Ian McKellen, MIT.
Yeah.
My favorite is, I don't follow this guy, but there's a guy who's at Drill, DRIL, and apparently figured out that if you change your name, the blue check doesn't follow you unless somebody manually puts it back. So he's been changing his name like every couple of hours, and they keep reinstating his blue check. And so it's like this chase of how long he can go without them noticing that he changed his name before they shove the blue check back onto him.
That is commitment to the bit. James Ellroy is trashing LA Confidential. So over the weekend was the LA Times Festival of Books, where you get just huge names who come out and read from their books and do Q&As. Like Stacey Abrams was here over the weekend, and James Ellroy was in a conversation and was asked about the Curtis Hanson adaptation of LA Confidential, which like won Oscars, which is considered like a great modern film noir. You're cringing as I'm saying all this, Alonso. Are you not a fan of LA Confidential?
No, I love LA Confidential, the movie, and I love LA Confidential, the book, and they are two very different things.
I never read the book.
Oh, the book has so much that didn't make it to the movie that maybe couldn't make it to the movie. But at the same time, I think, like, look, my goddess Jacqueline Suzanne like saw Valley of the Dolls for the first time, was horrified by it, and then shut up about it because she knew that it was going to sell tons more copies of the book, and it was going to make her able to command higher prices for her next books. So I am a believer that James Elroy probably made out quite nicely from the movie of LA Confidential, from the movie tie-in edition of the book, from the rights that were purchased, from other rights that were purchased, maybe that weren't made into films, but they wanted to because of that movie. So maybe shut up, James Elroy. Like, your book is great. I love your book. And it's very, very different from the movie. And you would need a 20-hour miniseries to get all of that into a thing. But, like, I'm sure you also made out nicely from it. So be cool.
Well, he's saying he waited until after Curtis Hanson died to see.
Oh,
what
nice.
He really
Okay.
thought of LA
Great.
This is why we're learning about this now. But Curtis Hanson's been dead for years.
Yes. And it's like, and I don't know that that's the classy move either. Well, now that you're dead, I can shit on your adaptation.
Stomping on your grave. We have news about Heartstopper season 2 on Netflix. That's coming out on August 3rd. We will definitely recap it here on our Patreon. We did season 1 and we loved it. I believe, are they doing the Netflix thing where it all comes out in one day?
Oh, probably. I think that's, I don't know if Netflix, I haven't watched a Netflix series in a while, actually. So I don't really know if they're still following that.
Stranger
paradigm.
Things did that, right? So
yeah,
2 big chunks.
That's true. I guess that was the last one I saw. So I suppose so. Yeah. I mean, they might do it in pieces, you know.
Yeah. So we will for sure talk about that when that
Absolutely.
happens. Some sad news from Richard Lewis. He announced that he has Parkinson's. He was diagnosed a couple of years ago with Parkinson's, and he put out this really sweet and heartfelt message over the weekend that he is going to no longer do stand-up comedy. He will continue to write. He will continue to act. And he says, you know, I love my wife and I love my puppy dog, and it's cool. So it was a very, very matter-of-fact, sweet way to share some sad news.
Yeah.
And then Barry Humphries, better known as Dame Edna, has died. The Australian comic and performer, and has a Tony, right? Had a Tony.
I believe so, yeah.
Anyway, died at age 89. Dame, are you a fan of Dame Edna?
It's a tricky one. There's a lot of Humphrey stuff that I think is really funny and brilliant, but then he also in his later years, like the guy was 89, so this is like grandpa who watches Fox News. He like came out with some anti-trans stuff that's like, dude, ooh, no, please, just so you know, I'm of mixed feelings about it. But obviously, I know a lot of people who had professional encounters with him, and he was lovely. I think a lot of his humor is funny and transgressive. I like his appearance as a Rupert Murdoch style tabloid chief in Spice World.
Yeah.
But there are a few public statements where I'm just like, oh no.